Hi again. So far we've talked about what it means to be a TCK, what the benefits of being a TCK are, and in this video we're going to talk more about the challenges of being a TCK. So what are the challenges of being a TCK? If you're leaving your home and everything you've ever known, your house, your school, your friends, your church, your social network, your language, your culture, the safety and stability of knowing where the nearest bathroom is or the park is, or if there even are parks where you're going. The foundation upon which you've built your understanding of how things work, all of it is just suddenly yanked out from under your feet. Even your safety and security in your mom and dad. Mom and dad have always been Superman and Superwoman when you're little. They can do anything, they know everything. Hopefully there's someone to show them the ropes, but while they're in this learning process, you realize mom and dad don't know everything and mom and dad can't do everything. Suddenly they don't know how to do a lot. Maybe you miss your grandparents or cousins or your friends or a dog that you had to leave behind, your favorite pet or animal. There's a lot of grieving that needs to be done because there's a lot of loss. Most everything you know and the way that life has been is no more, and you're not 100% of what's coming down the pipeline next. TCKs and their families tend to be in constant transition, and that can be really hard on anyone. In fact, transition is a major cause of stress and source of stress, which is why families living overseas can experience much greater levels of stress than they did when they were back in the States. All that added stress can lead to feelings of depression, and that's something that TCKs can battle as well. Feeling isolated and alone, not having close friends, not feeling like you have someone to reach out to or share, not feeling like you have somebody that you can relate to or who can understand what you're going through can be really tough. And even when TCKs are able to put down roots in a community, sometimes their friends leave. A TCK who's not finished developing their heart language or their first language, who begins studying a second language in the meantime, can struggle and take longer to learn the two languages than if they were just learning one at a time. This does have an added benefit, though, that later they learn languages more quickly and can advance within any given language at a more rapid rate. But in the beginning, their reading and writing and language skills can be delayed. Like I said, everything that they've known has changed, and who they are maybe has changed in the midst of all of that. And maybe they don't even know if it's changed or not. One of the things that TCKs regularly struggle with is identity formation, or at least a delayed identity formation that's 1, 2, maybe 3 years behind some of their peers. So that's a lot of challenges. You have language, culture, losing your identity, and having trouble forming who you are or understanding who you are, and knowing who you are in various situations and how quickly that can change. Needing to put on one culture in one situation and another culture in another situation, sometimes having to switch 4 or 5 cultures in just the span of a morning, can make it really hard for TCKs to understand who they are at their core. One of the really important things they can do is ask what never changes. What are the things that always stay the same about them in any place or situation or culture or language? Those can become an identity anchor for that TCK, and those can be very helpful moving forward. So think about it. Everyone's excited. You're getting to go on a fun adventure, and yet you're deeply sad inside and scared and anxious. You're about to lose everything you know, and life's about to get really challenging. But sometimes your parents and people around you are saying, don't worry, it's gonna be great. And that can make it seem like they don't understand what you're going through and they can't relate to you and where you're at and who you are. When it comes to making friends, TCKs often go one of 2 ways. Either they can befriend everyone as quickly as they can because they like to make friends and they're moving so often that to make friends they have to go really deep really quick. Or they can decide that there's no point in trying to make friends because they're just going to leave or their friends will leave. And so they learn to cut off the relationships that they feel would be just too painful, even though they need those relationships for the journey that they're on. So with all of these challenges, is it worth it? Should you take your child or children to a foreign nation and turn them into TCKs? Well, there's a lot you can do to make the journey a lot easier. In the next video, we'll be talking about those factors that can make the journey a lot easier and how you can prepare. Then we'll talk about transition, and finally we'll talk about how to thrive as a family regardless of where you are in the world, and some of those rhythms and methods that really help when you're living cross-culturally overseas.